All right, everyone. Tesla has five vehicles that they've had for quite some time. Cybertruck about a year and a half. But some of these vehicles have changed. The pricing has changed on these as well. So what I wanted to do today is cover what the differences are between these five vehicles. And we're going to start with the most affordable Model 3. Let's come in here and take a look. So with the Model 3, and I've owned a Model 3 before. Actually, out of all five of these, I've driven all five. I've owned two, so have a lot of first-time knowledge and have owned EVs for 6, 7 years now. With the Model 3, you're going to get a really solid, small, compact sports car. With all of these options here, and I'm going to go into the cash option. I'm going to take off the $7,500 credit. If you qualify for that, makes a huge difference, but just to compare everything here, we're going to take that off. And it starts with a rear wheel drive for 42K. Now, this is a pretty decent car for the money. You have a lot of range here, so you're able to get over 350 miles and you still don't sacrifice that much performance. So from 0 to 60, you can still go under 5 seconds at 4.9, which is pretty good. The back row is spacious. It's not huge. It does drive pretty low to the ground. Again, I compare it to a sports car. It will give you a lot of good performance, but tons of value. And you're not going to have a lot of room. But if it is for, you know, you and one other person, if it is for a small family of three, it's easy. A family of four is fine. The trunks aren't huge on these, and we'll get to that in just a little bit when we compare it to the Model Y. Um, but a great value car. And if you did factor in that $7,500 rebate, you're getting something at under 35K, which is awesome. Now you can go up to the long range version, which is only going to add 5,000. This gives you all-wheel drive. It's a dual motor. You're going to sacrifice a little bit of range there. So you go down from 363 to 346, but you're getting a little bit more speed at 4.2 seconds. If you're all about speed though, what you're going to want to do is go to the performance here. And now we're looking at 2.9 second 0 to 60. So this thing will launch off a light really, really quick. Now you do sacrifice a decent amount of mileage for that. So now we're under 300 miles at just 298. But still, for standard driving, even for road trips, 300 miles is great. And these charge very, very fast. Now, on all of these, and we won't get into them, you're going to have key kind of standard options that are always available. So I'll go through with the all-wheel drive here. You're going to have one color that Tesla gives you. If you want other colors, like if I want to change this to blue, it's going to be an extra 1,000. Pearl white, it's an extra. Ultra red, which happens to be my favorite, an extra 2,000. And for wheels too, you have a standard wheel and rim set, which are all pretty good. These aren't bad options at all. They're not cheap. But if you did want something a little bit more premium, you do have the option on all these to go for a more premium option. This again will cost you $1,500, and their stock interior is going to be black. But with all these options, you'll add the white too for $1,000. And with everything as well, you can add their full self-driving. That'll be 8,000 across the board. You can also just subscribe to that month over month if you really wanted to. So that's the Model 3. Again, this is going to give you a very good compact car. You do have a decent amount of space. So if you are looking at the trunk here, it's going to give you enough for, some suitcases, some basics. But again, you're not going to pack a family of four on a 5-day road trip. You're not going to pack it that well. If that's what you're looking for, you definitely then want to move up to the Model Y. And the Model Y here is going to give you just a higher up feel. So it's more similar to a crossover SUV. You have easier to get in. One piece of feedback I've heard on the Model 3 is for some people it's hard to get in. It is low to the ground and you kind of have to get, used to that. The Model Y sits kind of like a crossover, a little bit higher up. You have more headspace too, so if you are tall, that's another advantage. And the other thing is you have a lot more cargo room. And I'll compare the cargo room that you have here with the Model Y and the Model X next, because these two cars are very similar actually. You get 76 cubic feet of storage in the Model Y. That compares to 93 that you are going to get in the Model X. But a good amount of storage here. And of course, the seats fold down. So if you did need even extra storage, that will easily fold down for storage if you're not having more than two people in the vehicle. Now, you can see from the video here, they do have a rear liftgate that's automated now. That's a newer addition with the updated Model Y, which is actually pretty nice. I'd wished for years that Tesla has added that to all of their models. It's something that many other vehicles do have pretty much out the gate, but they do have it now in some. So if we go into the specs here, again, you can get this vehicle for a very good deal. If you have qualified for that $7,500 rebate, 41K. Without, you're looking at 48. And they only have right now just this all-wheel drive option, which again, for me, I think you get more speed by having the dual motor. And it just gives you better traction in sleet and snow and rain. I think all-wheel drive is always the way to go, but again, that's a personal preference of mine. You do lose out a little bit on range though. But for the Model Y, since it's all they have available with this new update, you're still getting 327 miles. So a little bit more cargo space than the Model 3, better headroom. It sits kind of higher up. It's a little smoother drive. This new design as well is going to give you a little bit more soundproofing. You have that nice kind of clean backlight. Again, some people might not like the design of this, but I do think it's a pretty stellar refresh that they have. Now, the interior on the Model Y and the Model 3 are going to look almost identical. There's not really much that you have here. You have your screen in the center, you have your console kind of laid out like this with a few little nooks and crannies to stash stuff in, and your back seat is just a typical back seat. So nothing really too crazy about the Model 3 interior versus the Model 3 versus the Model Y. Doors are the same. Pretty much everything's the same. You're just getting a bigger vehicle here. Now, if we switch over though, and we go to the Model X next, now you're getting into a much larger vehicle. So if we head in here and we take a look at the Model X, now you're looking at a real SUV. Again, you have 93 cubic storage feet of storage. You're still getting really great range. So that's the other thing, is you get a solid amount of range right now too. Free supercharging. So if anyone is looking to get a Model X, you can have supercharging for life, which can save you, $1,000, $2,000 a year if you do supercharge a lot. I'll add my referral link in the description below. So if you are looking to buy, you can save some money with my referral link as well. But you can see here for the kind of baseline Model X, you're getting 314 miles of range. Now there's a few different types that we'll cover. The screen is going to be larger. The interior is going to be a little bit different, not a ton compared to that Model Y, but you do have extra row or extra space for a third row, or you could just have tons of extra storage as well. And I'm going to go into spec one of these out and show you what it costs. Now that's going to be the main difference, is you're looking at a lot more cost. So one, no $7,500 rebate, and you're looking at an 84K price tag. Now, if you want to go with their performance version, that jacks all the way up to 99K. So much, much more expensive. But you can see the all-wheel drive, you're getting 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, which for an SUV is amazing, and still 329 miles of range. If you did want that performance version, it drops the range down to 314, but you're looking at a crazy 0 to 60 speed at 2.5 seconds. This is a 1,000 horsepower car. It is just amazing, the performance that this has for an SUV. Carbon fiber interior. It is really a beautiful, beautiful car here. But again, you are going to come with a price tag. Now, one thing that you can get with the X and the S is the interior. It's not just black and white. You can get a cream as well, which kind of has grown on me. At first, I didn't like it, but I do think it's actually pretty nice. Another thing I didn't call it earlier is you can replace the steering wheel with a yoke steering wheel if you want better visibility. Now, you will see here that you do have a secondary screen that shows up. So the yoke steering wheel actually does give you even better view of that secondary screen, and that secondary screen is actually pretty helpful. It gives you access to your navigation. You can see the driving visualization. You can see things like your music and what you're playing. Really helpful to have that there, so you're not always looking over to the right. But even with the steering wheel, you still have a good field of view on that. Next, we're going to jump over to the Model S, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. It is basically very similar in some ways to a Model 3, just longer, larger, a little bit more premium in terms of the build though. And you do have a faster car. So if you are really looking for a true sports car, but you don't want to sacrifice on range, this thing is pretty incredible. Again, similar to the Model S and Model X, you are going to pay for it. The all-wheel drive, about 80,000, and their performance version, 94K. Now, even with the all-wheel drive, you're still getting a 0 to 60 speed of 3.1 seconds, top speed of 130, and it still gets 410 miles of range. So incredible, one of the best range EVs out there. I've had a lot of EVs, like I've said, and I've been able to take road trips all over, pretty decent long, road trips. And even with a 250-mile range vehicle, with the supercharger network Tesla has, you're able to get anywhere really in the United States that you need to. With 410 miles, though, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to take a long road trip and not have to worry about stopping every few hours and filling up the batteries. So that is really the main kind of improvement that you get with this Model X, Model S. They name them all too similar. Interior is very similar to that Model X, but you do get this crazy amount of range at 410 miles, which again, I think is pretty awesome. Now, you also finally have the truck that some people love, some people hate. I tend to think it's actually pretty awesome, and it probably is going to be the next thing we get when we trade in our Model X and get this Cybertruck here. So let's take a look at this. There's a couple options that you have, and one that I kind of don't really like at all, and I'll get into why. But it is a full size truck bed. You have a whole back seat that's pretty spacious. Again, I've taken one of these out for rented one for about a 3-day weekend, and it is very spacious. The front row too, you have so much room in it. It's pretty amazing. Now, when you're looking at the different options that you have, we'll come in here. The first thing to note is you can get the $7,500 rebate with this if you qualify and check with your financial advisor on that. But with that, you can get just the two-wheel drive for $62K, which is a pretty good deal in my opinion. I'll take that off though, and I'll talk about a little bit on this long range and kind of what it does. So this is a two-wheel drive truck, which first I'm not a fan of. I think any truck, hopefully you're taking it off road a little bit. You're really taking it up to the snow. You're taking it in more rugged conditions, and four-wheel drive is really a necessity. Again, that's my opinion. But if you needed something for a city driver, it might be okay. There's a bunch of different things though that you don't get with this, which is why I think it's worth, even though it's a $10,000 upgrade to go to this all-wheel drive at 80K, I think it is well worth it. And I'll show you what those are. So first, the one thing that you'll kind of notice is you get a little bit more miles, 25 more miles if you're comparing this two-wheel drive versus the all-wheel drive. So that's good, but it sacrifices in everything else. So it has less towing capacity at 7,500 versus 11,000. The payload is 500 pounds less. Your acceleration, of course, is less, which I don't think that is too bad. But here's where it gets to a few things that I really don't like. First, in the seats, you don't have the premium, even though the Tesla doesn't use real leather, they use this faux leather. It still feels really good. This uses cloth seats. It also has only front heated seats, not front and rear, and there's no ventilated seats. So that I think is a pretty big bummer. The audio is less. I'm sure the audio still would be good. What I drove was the all-wheel drive, and the audio there was pretty amazing. Now, the bed, though, you just have a soft cover that you have to upgrade and buy. You don't have the hard case motorized cover. And that for me is a definite negative. I really liked being able to have a motorized cover that is hard and safe and secure, and you keep your stuff in it. This soft cover, I'm not a fan of at all. I think it limits the use of the truck for sure. The other thing you don't have in the bed is you don't have any power outlets. So with the all-wheel drive, you do get two 120 volt and one 240 volt outlet. And with that, you can charge other cars. And I even did a video a while back on how I could charge a Ford Mach-E from the Tesla Cybertruck bed, which is really cool. The last piece that you get here that, again, I am definitely not a fan of is just coil spring suspension. The air suspension that Tesla has makes for a very smooth ride. And again, this is another thing that I think is well worth having the extra 10K to get the all-wheel drive. Now, one thing to call out that they mention here that's included with everything, which if you haven't driven a Cybertruck, I do suggest go to a local Tesla shop and drive one. The steer-by-wire they have is incredible. It is the most responsive thing. It's hard to describe, so I just say go test it out and try it out because it really is amazing. So with this all-wheel drive, I think this is the best option for the Cybertruck. You're getting speed, 4.1 seconds on 0 to 60. You can tow a decent amount, and you still have 325 miles of range, which should get you, again, anywhere in America that you need to go on a road trip. Now, if you wanted to, you can go up to their Cyber Beast, which you get 25 less miles, but the speed on this thing is incredible. It's a 4 quad motor instead of a 2 motor, and you're going 0 to 60 seconds in 2.6 seconds, which for such a heavy vehicle, again, I think that is pretty amazing. And some of the same things that I mentioned in the others, if you do want some of the upgraded wheels, so if we go back to the all-wheel drive, you can see the wheels on here. I do not like these wheels at all. I think that the upgraded wheels are much better looking. Now, those will come with a cost for sure. It's at a $3,500 cost. And you also get a little less miles as well. But these things just, I think, make the car for sure. And you have the gray versus the white interior. So that is it. That rounds up the different options that you have right now for a Tesla. Again, if you are in the market and you're looking, it really depends on what you need. You know, do you need space to haul a bunch of gear around? Cybertruck might be the way to go. Do you have a family of 4, family of 5? You need a third row seat. The Model X might be a way to go. Budget, of course, it matters to all of us, and especially in this crazy economy. So if you're looking to go electric and you don't have the need for tons of space, the Model 3 is an amazing car. And I will again put my referral link at the bottom. So feel free to go into that link. You'll save some money, which is great. It'll give me a credit too, which is awesome. And maybe one day that can help me to get that Cybertruck that I've been waiting for. If you do have questions too, throw me a comment. Please, love to give some more insights into these three options, what they can do for you, and yeah, let me know how I can be of help. If you need anything around the Model X, especially, that's my daily driver, and I do a lot of reviews of that and full self-driving, and I'll continue those for you all. Thanks, everyone.